Hey, it's Monday. It's early in the week. We may actually have an opportunity to see something go down that dismisses this idea. But for now, I wanted to talk about the Vancouver Canucks and the question as to whether or not bad contracts actually exist and whether or not Vancouver can take advantage of said deals. Let's open this video up by acknowledging what has happened in Vancouver and the trades that Ryan Johnson has made. In particular, there's been one bad contract, quote-unquote, that the Vancouver Canucks ended up acquiring, and that was Brendan Gallagher out of the Montreal Canadiens. $6.5 million a year, cut in half because of 50% salary retained, and the Vancouver Canucks are going to be taking on $3.25 million on their payroll for this season, which is, of course, the last season of Brendan Gallagher's contract. Other than that, Vancouver's trades have been shipping guys out. Höglander for a third in 2029. Marcus Pettersson for a first in 2030 that's top 10 protected. Other than this Gallagher move, the Vancouver Canucks have not necessarily done any of the let's take on a bad contract to really help out another team and get some big assets in the process. Some thought that Gallagher would be able to do that, but with the salary retention and with Gallagher's desire to come to Vancouver, I guess it was only really a courtesy that this trade even got made. And it also does help out the room, so I guess there's more value to it than just Gallagher being seen as a negatively valued asset. But with that said, there was a post made on the R Canucks subreddit by Canucks Rule 1, who asks the question, what are some bad contracts to target? The Vancouver Canucks are one of the youngest teams. They're in the top 10 in cap space. They have a clear direction, and they have decent draft capital. I know, don't panic. I also feel a bit of imposter syndrome. Saying all that, the Canucks are going to suck and they need lots of picks. Who in this year and next can the Canucks trade for and get either draft capital or young players in order to take on those bad contracts? And when I saw this post made and I read the title, I read the body of the post, my immediate instinctual reaction was, man, I honestly don't know if that's really possible anymore. Like, yes, in the flat cap environment, you saw a lot of trades go down where players were getting moved because they had bad deals, and the teams that were taking them on were getting them alongside of some pretty nice draft capital. For example, let's go over to Patrick Marleau, a guy who, miraculously, ended his career with the San Jose Sharks. He was one of the best Sharks of all time, and he found himself in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization before he got traded to Carolina. And the thing is, when he got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes, he wasn't traded in a regular old move where it was like, the Canes are getting Marleau and the Leafs are getting something. Instead, the trade went as follows. Patrick Marleau got sent over to the Carolina Hurricanes along with a conditional first-round pick and a seventh in exchange for a sixth-round pick. Carolina then bought out Marleau's contract, and he then returned to San Jose. That's how it went down. Marleau, a conditional first, and a seventh for a sixth. This trade wasn't Patrick Marleau going over to Carolina because he's valuable. This trade was Toronto saying, hey, Carolina, we'll pay you a first-round pick to get Marleau, and then you can do whatever you want with him. You can buy him out. Hey, look at this. This is so cool. Ha ha ha, that's amazing, eh? For a detailed breakdown of how Carolina used this trade to acquire a top prospect, you can watch this YouTube video, made by somebody by the old name of LegoRocks99. Because the first-round pick that Carolina got, by the way, they used it to select Seth Jarvis, who was a very big part of them winning the Stanley Cup this previous year. The question is whether or not the Vancouver Canucks can pull off any similar type of move. Can they be Carolina in this case? And unfortunately, in the draft climate and free agency climate of 2026, I feel like it's just not that possible anymore. Crash Bandihoot says this, Darnell Nurse just got traded for positive value, and he was arguably the worst contract in the league. So I think the era of getting assets for bad contracts is gone for now. Literally half the league still has $10+ million in cap space or more right now. There is an absolute abundance of cap space available, thus making the necessary Patrick Marleau buyout first-round pick type of deals essentially obsolete in the short term. And speaking about that Darnell Nurse, there obviously is a good connection to make with that situation in San Jose. Darnell Nurse is making $9.25 million a year till the end of 2030. Bad contract for a player that's not worth it. And he didn't get traded alongside of a first-round pick or anything. It was Darnell Nurse for 2 quality assets. I mean, if that doesn't say we are in a different kind of market, then I don't know what is. Darnell Nurse in exchange for Shakir Mukhamadullin and Zach Sharp. Not Darnell Nurse and 2 firsts, not Darnell Nurse and a third, just Darnell Nurse. So with that said, the question is whether or not the Vancouver Canucks could actually pull something off like that now. It's amazing that once the Canucks finally decided to rebuild, one of the ways to pick up extra assets is basically dead. Let's go out there and read another reply. Testing Butts gives us some hypothetical names that maybe make sense in this capacity. The 3 big ones that come to mind because they're both bad contracts and they're teams up against the cap who are also probably going to want to be getting better are Adin Hill with Vegas, $6.25 million AAV until 2031. Alex Killorn with Anaheim, $6.25 million AAV till 2027. And Frank Vatrano with Anaheim, $4.57 million AAV till 2038. 28, excuse me, not 2038, that'd be quite insane. Honorable mention to Trent Frederick Edmonton, who's making $3.85 million till the end of 2033. Now that's interesting because Frank Vatrano's name has indeed circulated the rounds as a newly established trade piece. This was posted onto the 4th period and their summer trade watch list 3.0. If you take a look at Vatrano and his new acquisition onto the list here, given Anaheim's cap gymnastics they are practicing with the result of Leo Carlson's offer sheet, the early word from now is that the Ducks are seeing how they can create more cap space from other moves and signings, and Frank Vatrano may be the odd man out. He has a 7-team no trade list and 2 years left on his deal, and he's making $4.571 million. Vatrano, this most previous season, had 9 points in 50 games, which is absolutely terrible, but just 2 years ago he had 60 points in 82 games there, 37 goals, 23 assists. My goodness, I'm looking at this, how do you do so poorly? What happened with this guy? Look at the points, 41, 60, 45, 9? He went from 45 points to 9 points? I don't care if he's making $4.5 million a year. A guy who was able to get 60 points in 82 games, going from that to 9 points is redonkulous. If anything, you could say maybe Frank Vatrano, if he is seen only as a cap casualty from the Anaheim Ducks point of view, maybe you can actually pull off some sort of a Patrick Marleau trade with Vatrano's name involved. Vancouver can get Vatrano and maybe a second or a first. Vancouver maybe uses Frank Vatrano at the top of their lineup. They let him get back to 60-point form, and then they flip him at the deadline because they say, hey, you could get this guy not just till 2028, but also in 2027 to help out with your playoff run. Frank Vatrano, because of the absolutely terrible year that he had this most previous season, I'd feel would actually fit the bill as one of these kinds of names that Vancouver could take advantage of, especially knowing now that his name is out there on the market. Alex Killorn is making a lot more. He goes on till the end of 2027, so he's got 1 more year left. Maybe he's also a candidate. Adin Hill in Vegas, he's on for a while, 2031. I don't really know if that's actually a profitable idea for Vancouver to think about, but either way, these bad contracts that Vancouver could acquire make sense in my mind. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section whether or not they make sense in your mind as well. Do you think the Vancouver Canucks should go out there and target some of these guys? Is that even possible? Is a bad contract with an asset trade type of deal even available in this market? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Any other names that you think stand out in this capacity? Brendan Gallagher was the easy one, but he already got traded and didn't net the Vancouver Canucks anything. But for now, thoughts in the comment section below. Frank Vatrano, Alex Killorn, Adin Hill. Who stands out, who doesn't? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.